Peace, y'all. Greetings, greetings. Since I'm in recording mode, I said let me go ahead and jump on here while I have a little bit of energy left. What little bit of energy that is, or whatnot. Peace, greetings, greetings. Hello, hello, hello. All right. So what I wanted to build about was lately I have been posting on here what it takes to start a business, and I guess decided to like record my journey in building the Salt Spa Wellness Center, holistic center that we have decided to go ahead and launch a location for. Um, I'm tired because we've been like going nonstop from, even despite everything that I had going on personally, it still was like me and AJ just kind of been on it, more so him now because, the people who follow me on my other pages, y'all already know I've been forced to kind of sit my ass down until my foot heal. Walking staff, I was just thinking about you today. I am calling you tomorrow, bruh. I need a staff. Once again, my foot is out of commission, so I need to get me a walking stick. God darn it. But what I realized is moments like these where I notice that we're not built the same. I laugh because sometimes I look at situations like this week and how situations like this week would make people stop pushing or being diligent or persistent on what it is that they're trying to build. When you are striving to build an empire, when you are striving to build a business, or you're deciding to be an entrepreneur, listen, it is not for the weak heart. It is not for a weak mind. You have to be very diligent and consistent on what it is that you're striving to accomplish. For me, it was making the plan, researching what dynamics that I had or resources I had available to create what it is that I wanted to create, actually making a blueprint for the success of this business. What are all the aspects that, and I think we will probably do a live on that so I can actually even help you start to identify what your customer base looks like for you. A lot of people get into business and they be like, I want everybody to be my customer. That shit is not realistic. Okay. When you're trying to operate a business or start any type of entrepreneur aspect, you cannot be shooting for any and everyone. That is going to end you up in the poorhouse, literally, or like really all over the place with how you market. What you need to do is be very specific and very targeting on my market or my customer looks like this, they think like this, they dress like this, they hang out in places like this. You have to really identify what does that look like. Okay. So for me, I already knew I wanted people who were invested in their healing, invested in their well-being. So this customer is going to be someone who is health conscious or looking for natural remedies and natural ways to heal and rejuvenate the body. So what does that customer look like? Where are they going? They might be going to the smoothie shops. They going to the vegan stores. They're going to the health food stores. These are places that I want to pay attention to because this is the places that you should be marketing. These are the places that you should be flyering. That you don't want to just be out in random ass parking lots putting flyers everywhere if that's the way you decide to do your guerrilla marketing. And I'll get into that in a whole nother live as well, because I do feel that you can't completely, especially if you have a brick and mortar, don't completely depend on social media to build your following. You still got to do it old school because there's a lot of people who are not on social media. As much as I come on here to do this type of stuff, I'm not just scrolling social media or looking for other businesses. I normally call a friend or ask around to see if somebody else knows some ways that I can, get what it is that I'm looking for. So paying attention to those little key dynamics are really important when you are building a business. Like I said, that blueprint and that plan is like key. When I used to do consultations for businesses, that used to be the one thing that used to frustrate the hell out of me. They would open a whole live business and not have a plan. You will have a whole, and I don't even say that you got to have like this 30, 50, 60, 100 page business plan. But what I am saying is at least have a notebook where you have started identifying how much money it's going to take you to operate your business. How much, you plan on investing in just your marketing alone, or just investing in just basic essentials. Okay. What is going to be the product cost that you have to keep up every month? If you saying that you want to spend $3,000 in product, how much money do you need to be making every month? Okay. So like really getting into those little details, I promise you, is a game changer. When you start outlining all of these details in a notebook or in whatever it is that you're looking for, what tends to happen is when you get into business, now you already have a plan or a preparation for when things are going maybe a little sideways, okay? And because you have that preparation, it'll actually give you more of an opportunity because you've taken the time to research and look up what are my options, okay? Because we're dealing with, when you're entrepreneurs, you got to be very creative and solution-based. There's no room for there's problems or there's issues or none of that. You got to be solution-based. So when you have this plan, go ahead and start making out. Like for me, I have a whole notebook that just breaks down each week. What product am I buying this week? What stuff do I need to have set up by the end of this week? I have a April 1st, somewhat first week of April right now, deadline on when I want to actually open the store officially for a grand opening. Every week, I have a to-do list of what needs to be accomplished. Each day, I have another to-do list that breaks down what I need to get done in that day. All right. So you got to be structured. You got to be strategic, because if you have all of this, you're going down your to-do list and you're not getting to the last week or the week before it's time for you to launch and you don't have half of your stuff done. You have actually a board. Like we have a dry erase board right now that's in the store that has like literally everything that we need to have listed to check off in order for us to get to the deadline that we are, operating with. The other dynamic you want to get into is making sure that you persevere. This business, or when you are an entrepreneur, there are going to be people who are going to tell you some stuff and it don't come out in the way that they saying. We were supposed to have our sign hung up today. The man did not hang our sign today. He didn't even call me to tell me that he was coming to, hang the sign or not come to hang the sign. But when we stopped by the office yesterday to double check that today would be a day that he was coming to hang the sign, he said he would be here this evening. When I first started my first business, the reason that I ended up being the salesperson, the seamstress, look, I ended up being the buyer for the shop. The reason I ended up taking on so many roles and responsibilities is because I had to start learning how to do graphics. I had to start learning how to make my own flyers. I had to start learning how to do certain things to get the things that I needed accomplished, because sometimes when people operating in their own time and their own level of consistency or what they feel is professional, it be on some BS. And you ain't got time to play around. So I literally took time to learn certain dynamics to help me be able to build my own website, to help me just be able to do the things that I needed to do, because I can't stop. It's like the old folks say, one monkey don't stop the show. I had to still keep moving forward. What are you doing? The only issue right now is that he lucky I don't know how to make this damn sign. Because if I knew how to make this sign, guess what? It probably would be done. Low key. It would be hung up by this weekend. But I'm patient. He's only one day behind. I'm going to stop by there. That's the other thing I want to touch on. Make sure that you follow through with the vendors that you're working with, because they got 101 things going on in their life and in their businesses, especially if you decide to use small and mom and pop businesses at that. So when you are using those type of dynamics, you got to go through. You got to be like, hey, I'm just following through. You got to apply a little bit of pressure so they can actually follow through on their side. Okay. Once you get through that whole, like I said, making the list, getting your to-do list, being persistent, being resourceful. Okay. Being resourceful. It helps because then you start to actually, see everything coming together. You're going to spend some nights. Like, we've had a lot of long nights, especially with the accident that happened this week. It's like we've had a lot of, just trying to jam pack a lot of, things into one dynamic. But guess what? We still, stayed on track deadline wise. I'm applying pressure with the sign dude just because honestly, I didn't really plan on having a sign until next week. But since he told me he could do it in a certain time frame, I'm going to hold him accountable. With the other dynamics that, we're having, it's just really having a checklist. Like, if you decide to open certain dynamics up, you need to have a checklist of everything. Like, I need you to sit there with a master team, not just yourself. Try to sit there, even if it's with people who don't really understand what it is that you're doing. Try to have you a group of people that can actually think about all the little details that you might forget or that you're not even thinking about. So you can create a list on your notebook that is like, you might not be thinking about that you need a stapler. Not to say that you would forget that, but you might not be thinking about basic office supplies because you're so focused on whatever service or product that you're selling. So you really need those other people to be in your circle to actually help you build out a plan on all the little, nooks and crannies, crossing the T's, dotting the I dynamics. Natural said, and you save money when you can do it yourself. Now, what I will say, sometimes saving the money is cool, but I'm in a space that, you work smart, not hard. And sometimes it's okay. Like, we just signed up with DoorDash so they can start doing our delivery now instead of us trying to do the delivery. Yeah, it takes a percentage of your sales, but at the end of the day, there's a bigger picture involved. There's, even the opportunity to hire our own drivers and have them working through DoorDash, but still under our own hub. So there's a whole, you got to look long game and how can I create opportunities for other people to do it and for it not to be on my hand? Because sometimes us trying to save $1 will have you still working harder than you should. And what the whole goal is that your business can truly flourish when you have the right people. Now, what I have learned as time went on, interview your people. Like, when you got people doing certain services for you, make sure that you are taking the time and the due diligence to pay attention to just basic communication in the beginning. How are they, showing up for different aspects of what you need them to deliver and timing. Okay, so you can see, are you somebody that's on time? Are you somebody that's able to handle the job? Because sometimes you got to pay a little bit more for somebody to be like, I could have went to a bigger sign company and got them to do the sign, and they would have had the sign done and hung when it was supposed to. But I went to a mom and pop company and, wanted to try to support some people. And now I'm dealing with what I'm dealing with, but that's okay. That's okay. Like I said, I'm still going to apply pressure. The whole point is to make sure that you follow through on your end as well. But that's pretty much the biggest thing. Like, don't feel like you can jump in any business and it's going to be easy. It's not. You're going to have a little bit of work to do. But if you structure yourself out, if you do your due diligence and make a plan, okay? If you have the capital to hire people to help you with certain, elements, whether it's an assistant, whether it's somebody to do certain dynamics that you need to do that too. But literally making that plan, having, a strategy to work in for that first year, for that second year, for that third year is really important. And really identifying what the hell you doing in the first place. Like, you can't say, oh, I want a t-shirt brand, and you jump out here and start doing t-shirts. Then what? Like, what is your plan of action? If you're saying, I want you to be the type of person that you say, like when I was designing clothes, I started designing clothes and I had a goal in mind. So, it was first about having the boutique. Then it was about having a chain of stores that, all created the same type of look and feel and energy or whatever in that particular store. Then it was about making sure that I was getting magazines, being on TV, on celebrities. Some of that stuff came before, other dynamics. And then it became me wanting to wholesale and being in other stores. I did all the things that was on my list. Okay. By the time I got to the end of the list, I really ain't had nowhere else to go. I started making up shit in the last years of me designing. Like, oh, okay, I think I want to do this. Okay, so you really need to have a list. If it is a t-shirt brand, like, what is the plan beyond you just selling t-shirts? Are you going to try to get into all the Southeast region of stores? Do you want to be in all the, hip hop stores? Like, really have a strategic plan on what's next. Like, what is the dynamics that you're striving to do? What is the goal behind you creating this particular brand? Not just because you love to do it, but what is the next step? Because you'll get to a space where now you're doing it, then what? Because you don't have nothing that you're working towards. So, plans. It ain't got to be a foolproof, business plan, but I do feel like you at least need to have a journal or some sort of notebook that outlines all the dynamics that you're trying to do with your business. It literally will help you when you having those days that you don't want to get up early or you up until 2 o'clock in the morning trying to figure it out. All right. I love you guys. Talk to you later.